All right. So for our first lab, we are analyzing, or we have the option to analyze two different files. Um, I'm going to choose the DLL since when we did the analysis in within the session itself, we did an exe. So for this DLL, it's called unload.dll. Um, I have opened it in all of the main tools we used. PE Studio. I took a look at it in the hex editor. Nothing really to point out in the hex editor. Kind of seeing what we would expect to see in the headers. Um, we're able to see the data in the sections. Um, I did notice, I'll get to it in the PE Studio, that there is a little bit of an overlay um, with this DLL. Um, I also opened it up in Detected Easy to see if maybe it was packed at all. I did see these. Detected Easy did throw these two errors: strange sections and this one as well that says dot data has wrong offset and size. Um, and if I had to guess, just by looking at it in PE Studio, um, I can see there is some correlation with that with those errors, right? For one, I do see sections named a little oddly. I don't know if this is common with DLLs, but I see a .c, a .r, a .d, which isn't something that I expected. So maybe that's why Detected Easy was kind of throwing some of those weird section names. Um, I also noticed in the .data that it couldn't enumerate some of this metadata here, especially like the entropy. It says not available, which again can kind of correlate with um, maybe this where it says .data has wrong offset and size. Um, I started doing the template, and I was able to gather most of this information from PE Studio, such as the SHA-256 hash. I included where I found this file, obviously just in the zip file. Um, how big it was, again, kind of data I pulled from PE Studio, same with compile time. Um, I put not packed, and the main reason I had said it was not packed was because, where am I here? If we take a look at it in PE Studio, um, the entropy, the highest is the .c, which I'm gonna guess maybe is like a .code, kind of like it's 47% of the overall file. Um, so I feel like the six entropy number is kind of expected, and it's not high, it's not not too close to 8, so I would say maybe it's not packed. And um, I don't know how Detected Easy didn't kind of call out any packer outside. It does say does mention Packer here, but I think that might just be because it has maybe some trouble reading some of the sections, which I guess maybe could be related to Packer activity. Um, but otherwise, grab the section hashes from PE Studio. Um, I noted here not available. What does that mean? And again, that was kind of alluding to um, in PE Studio where it's basically saying not available or not applicable. So curious to see why that might be. Maybe I'll do some research as to see kind of why that specific section couldn't have that data created or populated within PE Studio. Um, but moving on to kind of like the main analysis here. Um, Took a look in PE Studio and PE Bear, some of the imports. Um, and definitely the first thing that catches the eye is all of the Win HTTP API functions, which are part of the Win HTTP DLL. Um, Again, I noticed that um, a lot of usage of that connection requests, opening requests, or yeah, setting all those kind of APIs. Um, I noticed some other malicious APIs being called, such as well, potentially malicious, such as like virtual alloc. Um, I see some files being created, a create directory, a write file. Um, so just kind of some just weird ones. And again, kind of weird that um, there's so many win HTTP requests. Of course, this is a DLL, so it does have an export, and it actually exports this um, init function, which is actually in one of those kind of weirdly named sections. It's in that .c section. Um, so it's just something that I had noted in my analysis notes uh, right there. Um, so some of the theories that I have just by kind of looking at it through there, and I also did check with um, Quantistrand and the strings CLI binary. I also looked at the strings within PE Studio. Nothing really caught my eye in the strings outside of just kind of the API function names. Really nothing else just kind of stood out to me as maybe something noteworthy as malicious. So I'm kind of theorizing based off of the API functions that I see here. And what I had wrote on my analysis was, where is it here? Oh, real quick, I wanted to just quickly chat about the overlay. I noticed that PE Studio did find overlay. It doesn't seem to be a lot. You could see kind of the bytes that it's showing here, but I also did open it up in PE Studio, or I'm sorry, the hex editor. So you can see here, I actually went to the address that it was calling out in PE Studio within hex editor. I went to the offset, and I could see kind of what it was collecting in PE Studio here in the hex editor, and it doesn't seem like anything. Um, I don't know what the overlay may be or result of, maybe some sort of um, packer activity or maybe some section. I don't, I'm not too sure, but yeah, it doesn't seem like anything kind of malicious there. Um, and so, yeah, where are my notes here? So I said, based on looking at the imports, this DLL could potentially be a malicious loader that is potentially injecting itself. Yeah, and I saw, again, kind of those virtual alloc, those get proc addresses functions, and I said maybe it's injecting itself in a process and then kind of pulling a malicious payload from like a C2 server using all of those WIN HTTP API calls. Um, and then again, I think it can be further confirmed with the whole create directory and write file API functions that maybe there is a file that gets pulled down from via those HTTP callouts. And again, I classified this one as a potential loader or dropper because of the nature of that activity that I'm kind of looking at here. Um, But yeah, I think that's mainly it. Oh, I did kind of write some of the MITRE technique mappings that could be used here, right? This could be some sort of execution. I wrote persistence. Maybe the file that's being pulled down is maybe pulled down to a start folder or something. Right, having that file on disk is, I guess, some sort of is a form of persistence in itself. Um, and I said that maybe there's some kind of defense evasion, maybe what we were kind of looking at with some of that, those weird section headers and some of those errors was because of a packing. And so because of that, maybe we could argue that that is, obfuscation. Um, but yeah, I think that's really it. That's my main observation, just by using some of the few tools that we looked at. Again, I kind of poked into every tool. I think every tool helped in some degree. Um, to help with my analysis and kind of what my write up here. So um, again, I think this is, if I had to kind of put a final stamp on it from what I've seen, seems to be some sort of initial stage malware, a dropper loader that is maybe setting up for the next stage of this malware. Um, so um, yeah, thank you. Um, and let me know how I did, Anush.